What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's Baseball Star here, and welcome to the first Baseball Talk episode of 2022. In today's episode, I'll be going over the most disappointing players of the 2021 season. So as always, subscribe and drop a like if you like baseball. Make sure to share the videos, show your support. We're almost to 900 subs. We can do this. And let's get this video started. Let's talk about Yankees second baseman DJ LeMahieu. Now, LeMahieu, big disappointment in 2021. Prior to this season, he was an MVP candidate two years in a row. He led the league in average, on base percentage. Ever since he joined New York, it seems like he was a different player. Well, this year, he took a big step back, hitting .268 with only 10 home runs, 57 RBIs, a .349 on base percentage, and a 1.5 WAR. So, I mean, yeah, slightly above average. Not that many RBIs. He wasn't getting on base a lot. In 2020, he was without a doubt top 3 second baseman. Some would argue he's the best second baseman. Now with the big step back, he's definitely dropped on that list. So although the numbers aren't as bad as some of the other people on this list, an overall disappointing season in 2021. Next up on this list, I've got New York Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor. He signed a massive contract over the offseason. Long term, he's going to be their franchise player. That didn't go too great in 2021. Let's talk about it. He batted .230, 20 home runs, 63 RBIs, a .322 on base percentage, and a 3.1 WAR. I mean, yeah, those numbers aren't terrible. We'd like to see the batting average higher, on base percentage, obviously. But he's just a totally different player. With the Indians, he hit 300. He was a 30-plus home run guy, easily the top shortstop in all of MLB, and now you can't really say that. In 2020, he took a step back. In 2021, he joined the Mets. Definitely did not perform to the level that his team or the fans wanted. So, again, Francisco Lindor, he still has generational talent. He's still a top shortstop in the league, but we're going to have to see him bounce back if he wants to stay at the top. And now, moving out west, let's talk about Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon. Ever since Rendon joined the Angels, he's been kind of a bust. Hitting .240 this year, 6 home runs, 34 RBIs, a .329 on base percentage, and a 0.0 WAR. So pretty much saying he's right at league average. And knowing Anthony Rendon, he is a far above average player. He's a phenomenal player. He was great with Washington. In 2019, he led the league in RBIs, third in MVP voting. Ever since he joined the Angels, he just kind of crashed. He was dealing with a lot of injuries. He played part of the season last year, started off very slow. We saw him kind of heat up last year, but then this year definitely cooled down. And overall disappointment for the Angels, The Angels, they've got talent. They've got Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Anthony Rendon now. But it's just not really working out for them. Some dealing with injuries, and then when they're all healthy, they just aren't playing well. So, if they want to be a playoff team, they're going to need Anthony Rendon to play at the level that they paid for. Staying in the city of Los Angeles, let's talk about Dodgers outfielder Cody Bellinger. So, I know this doesn't get talked a lot because he's just on an insanely good team and their offense did perfectly fine without him, but there's no way going around this. Cody Bellinger had a horrible year. He hit .165, 10 home runs, 36 RBIs, a .240 on base percentage, and a negative 1.5 WAR. Cody Bellinger this year played like a below average player. That's just not something that's supposed to happen. Like in 2019, he was the MVP, right? But 2021 was a complete disaster for Cody Bellinger. And in a similar boat to Bellinger, let's talk about Christian Yelich. So Yelich had a similar year. In 2019, he was the second place runner in MVP. 2018, he won National League MVP, obviously. So, he's an MVP type player. Prior to this season, he was easily in the top 3 best overall players in Major League Baseball. But this year was kind of rocky for him. .248 average, 9 home runs, 51 RBIs, a .362 on base percentage, and a 1.2 WAR. I mean, those numbers are better than Bellinger, but not by much. And his team, the Brewers, need him to play like an MVP if they want to compete in the Central Division with the Cardinals. And finally, moving on, let's talk about a couple pitchers. So, as we all know, the San Diego Padres made a splash last offseason in the matter of a couple days. They signed Cy Young pitcher Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. I mean, the San Diego Padres were one of the biggest disappointments of the 2021 season, and a big part of that has to go to their starting pitching. They got starting pitching, but it just didn't work out. Yu Darvish, 166.1 innings pitched, an ERA hovering around 4.22, an 8-11 record with 93 strikeouts. I mean, overall, just not a great year for Yu Darvish. His ERA was a little high. He was giving up runs. You know, they needed that number one ace to compete with the Dodgers, and it just didn't happen. And coming off of a Cy Young year, definitely a disappointment. And then moving on over to Blake Snell, 128.2 innings pitched, a similar ERA of 4.20, 7-6 record, and 170 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, that ERA is just too high. 4.20 ERA compared to 2020 with a 3.24 ERA. It's just, the Padres need Yu Darvish and Blake Snell to perform at their Cy Young levels if they want a shot at competing with the Dodgers. For them, the offense wasn't the problem, it was the pitching. And talking about another disappointing team this season, let's talk about the New York Mets. The Mets and the Padres both made splashes last offseason, and they were supposed to do well. In my predictions, I think I had the Mets at second or even first in their division. I'll have to look back on that. But boy, I mean, that was a bust. And I think it's just the lack of offensive production. I already talked about Francisco Lindor, who everyone was hoping would do well. Jeff McNeil, 251 average and only 7 home runs, a 319 on base percentage, 35 RBIs and a 1.4 WAR. Again, not the numbers that we're looking for. I mean, Jeff McNeil had a 300 plus average in 2018, 2019, 2020. I mean, this guy was just a hitting machine, and this year we just didn't see that. Same with Dominic Smith, a 244 average, 11 home runs, 58 RBIs, a 304 on base percentage, and a negative 0.7 WAR. I mean, this year his batting average was 72 points below his batting average in 2020, and he only hit one more home run than he did in the shortened season. So that goes to show the lack of power and just the lack of offensive production. And these Lindor, McNeil, and Dom Smith are 3 huge parts in the Mets lineup, and I think the Mets just did not succeed because of lack of hitting. So that's a wrap on today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what I should do next, what you want to see. Did I miss anyone? Any of that stuff. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll see y'all next time.